Welcome. To get started, any luck? OBS has been crashing for me today, so who knows if this stream will last longer than 30 seconds. But we're going to do what we can. And like a pro, I've forgotten to change my resolution for you. Pull that down a little bit. There we go. I think everything fits on screen. All right, so today I'm going to work a little bit more on the drawing application I've been working on. It's two pieces. If I can find the other piece. Here we go, this guy right here. So the goal is to have an iPad interface that looks like this, where you can scroll into different pages and you can have kind of shelves of each notebook. You can go into a grid view and look at each page, and you can zoom into each page and scroll through and draw, take notes, anything like that. And today we're on the drawing side. So we're going to be using drawing. Let me see if I can get the screen up. Yeah, here we go. So connect my pencil. There we go. So we can draw on the iPad. Nice thing, you can see there's a bit of texture there with the width of the line. So it's actually reading the pressure values from the pencil as I'm drawing, or with your finger it reads velocity and it looks a bit inkier. But my goal with this project, this Draw UI project, is to make a library that anyone can import into their iPad application that has a number of different methods for drawing in a view. I built an app a bunch of years ago that was a note-taking app, and I built the drawing technology in OpenGL, and it was a nightmare. And so I never want to do that again. But it'd be great if nobody else had to do that again. And OpenGL is or Metal or something like that is certainly the fastest option and probably the best option, quote unquote, if you're going for performance. But there's a bunch of other ways to draw things to the screen. And when I was developing Looseleaf, I went through, I don't know, 5 or 10 or 20 different options. And then when I settled on OpenGL, all of the code for those other 20 kind of disappeared into the ether, and I never really looked at it again. So this project is a way to test all of those other strategies that you can kind of toggle between up here. So there's a debug view which shows the pen stroke and color. That colors mean different things. Smart draw rect is what I'm calling that one, where it only redraws a portion of the screen. If I'm drawing in here, it's only going to redraw this rectangle, and if I draw over here, it'll redraw this rectangle. A naive implementation, which is the same except it's going to redraw the entire screen every time. Tiled version, which uses a CA tiled layer, and it implements kind of drawing. It splits the screen up into tiles of various sizes, and then as you draw, it's only going to refresh that one tile, and it's multi-threaded and all that kind of stuff. And then a simple CA layer, which is using shape layers. CA shape layers in a filled background color to do the rendering. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. It's been fun to work on, and so today I would like to probably do the easy stuff, which is save and load, because right now every time I open the app, it's a completely brand new world. Everything's blank. So being able to save and load to disk would be nice. And then potentially doing the eraser, because right now I just have a black pen. Erase function. So possibly doing the eraser and the very least being able to save and load. And then that will get this this debug, or this just kind of sample application Draw UI working. And this here is our code. Get the code there. So you can check that out if you want to play along. And let's open it up and start working on saving and loading. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving? For those of you in the States. All right, so first things first, do a simple save and load button. For this sample application, I'm just going to save and load a single file. I just want to prove that it can happen. I'm not going to worry about saving multiple pages or anything like that. Let's just add some buttons. That vertical spacing. Load this guy. There. Well, we can have our save button here, our load button. Excuse me. So since last time, I've actually done a fair bit of work. A drawing. I've refactored a bit to make things a little easier to save and load. So actually happening. Let me get a new canvas open. What's actually happening is we have the iPad screen. The user touches, say, this stroke right here. That goes into a touch stream, which is just an array of event data. That goes into the draw model. The draw model actually turns all of these touches into the actual Bezier path stroke elements. So each little segment of this curve happens inside of here. And then that gets passed to a renderer. These options right here are the renderer. So we can actually kind of hot swap this item out into any of these different options. And then that actually gets put out onto the view. How do you spell view? View on screen. Right? That's basically what happens. And so what we're saving disk is this part right here. It should be possible to save only the touch stream and have just this data reanimate the entire draw model and kind of recalculate what these splines are going to be and what the thickness is going to be and all that kind of stuff. But what I would like to do is I would like this to be kind of, this touch stream data be kind of transient, and during the user's draw session, I'll have all of this touch stream data. But then when I save to disk, I'm only going to save, I might save all of it, but I'd like to be able to throw this away and save only this. And then next time they load it, the new touch stream data just kind of applies on top of what's already there. That's the goal. So what I want to start with is saving this to disk, and then possibly optionally save the touch stream to disk. But for right now, we're just going to draw model. That, I have this guy right here, and I'm just going to implement encoding, and we're going to do it that way. set up our protocol right here with Coder. Right? And we will code with Coder, right? So what I think I want to prove can happen first is just that we can load and save a blank object. Come down here. When we save it, we will do ns archive data, archive data with root object, all model, yes, and we'll do an error. Error saving data, error, what? We have a debug description, maybe? Localized description? Probably enough. Sent the controller. Right? And here, saved successfully. Saved. Drawing is saved. Day saved. Thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. All right, and then we have our draw model. Save the wrong thing there. There we go. So draw model equals. Excuse me. I don't know if you can hear me coughing or not. I'm trying to cough away from the microphone. Archived object of class, and that's going to be a draw model. Draw model class from data. Go. Workspace. What's the how do you get the user home URL? iOS home URL. This document directory. Search path. I think I look this up every single time. I don't think I ever remembered how to do this on the first try. There we go. That's all I want. Drawing.dat. Right? Pretty good. Right to URL. Go. Probably only write it. Have data. There we go. Now we can save our data. We can load the data from the URL. There we go, error loading data. So theoretically, we can now initialize the model. We can save the model. We can there we go. So we can archive it. If we get an error, we can alert the error. Otherwise, we write it to disk. Good. And then when we load it, we just load in the new drawing model. Sounds pretty good. We also need to do that. Once we load in the model, set it on our view so that way it renders properly. Pretty good. I think when we set it, it should do a yeah, it'll render it as well. Okay, so now let's tie in those buttons into their action. Save the drawing. Load the drawing. Now we can run a test. What I would like to happen is I would like it to load up to a blank canvas. We draw around a little bit, we hit save. It should tell us everything is saved and really great. We draw around a little bit more, we hit load. It loads everything just fine. And then shows us a blank canvas again, because right now what we're actually saving here is nothing. And so, but we're at least saving the shell of our data, and that's all I want. Let's see if that works. Well, not yet, because I don't see our button. Should be right over here. Why is my button not there? Where did my button go? Oh, I stuck them in the wrong place. Yeah, all these guys need to be out here. That's funny. All right, force render 8 away from the top. You're going to be horizontally in container. Save. Put you over there. Load button, go up here too. Oh, you jumped into the wrong place. That's why. There we go. Now our button should show up. Let's try again. All right, we draw, we hit save. Get a crash. What's he mad about? Oh, the other thing we need to do. This is what is what it's showing me. Very helpful message, and does not have a dismiss button. All right. S code. Yeah. Conforms to NS secure coding. Oh, that's why. It's funny. I totally forgot that other method of the secure coding protocol. Is it an instance method? Supports secure coding. That's on the class method. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, I always forget that guy. All right, so now we've got our screen up, draw, save. The drawing is saved. We hit load. Did not load. It's not in the correct format. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, and it doesn't have my oh, that's funny. Put that down here too. All right. Now I'm just going to hit the load button. Our breakpoint. Do we have any data? We do not have any data, which is interesting because we should have saved data up there. I'm going to be angry. Save data. Has 135 bytes. Writes to the URL. Might need to write to the documents directory, but should be okay. Right? Apparently not, because then when I load, I have no data. And my URL is the exact same. So it must be a directory thing. Yeah, maybe I need to use domains in a search path directories. Remember, never remember. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. All right, there we go. Here's my documents directory, and then that should be what I want. Yeah, so then if I go file URL with path, and that should let me get into the document directory. Yeah, it feels okay. Hey there. Minoan? Oh, I'm going to butcher your name. I'm not doing it on purpose. Okay, so now we have our drawing. Save it to disk. I am glad you're here. Welcome. We have a valid URL. We have a URL with a file name stuck on the end of it. We have our data. Happy about life. Write that data to disk. It's happy about life. Now we load it here. Hey, we actually have data. Great. We actually have a model that we loaded. Great. Now it should. Here's our screen because I drew on it. I saved it. I just hit load. You can see my load grayed out up here. When I continue the debugger, this screen should blank out white because it loaded an empty model. And ta-da, it did not. Actually, not responding to anything now. It's interesting. So something is not, I didn't connect everything up correctly again. Oh, you know what I think the part of the problem is? Here, I need to at least initialize it. Like a blank model. I think that is going to be what we want. Let's try again. I like taking baby steps like this where it's just, just prove I can do one tiny thing. One tiny step closer to success. There we go, saved. And once I prove I can do one tiny step towards success, I take my next tiny step and I just take tiny steps forever. All right, draw view, draw model. Now we hit go. Still did not clean the screen. And still is not, hey, there it goes. Now it's letting me draw. Now if I load, what happens? I want to go here. I want to break there. I want to load. I've loaded, I've drawn things on the screen. I have a new draw model. Get a new stream of touches. I tell my renderer that I'm about to update my model. Update the model. And then this should, yep, renders everything. Oh, maybe that's why, because the renderer still has its tracking state to see what has changed since the last version of the model. Maybe I need to reset that. Yeah. The draw model here has nothing in it, but it's at version 0. And then this guy's at version 1281. Now, what I predict will happen, I'm going to draw on my iPad over 1281 moments. Yeah, there we go. It ignores it until it catches up with the version. What I need to do is I need a way to reset the renderer. Basically, I could just kill it and rebuild it as well. Probably killing it and rebuilding it is the best way to do it, I think. If I did change renderer after a load, that's going to create a new renderer, a new empty renderer, which should then, yeah, actually, I don't even need that. There we go. I think that's what I want, because this is going to refresh everything. Going to refresh everything. Draw. We save. It's saved. We load. Yeah, and it's blank again. Great. Cool. Amazing. We can save and load an entirely blank drawing model. Okay. Now we need to actually figure out what we want to save. We could save the version. I think these are the only two things we actually need to save, are these two properties. Last seen event. I don't think I need to save you. No. Yeah, I think that's it. Code. Sure. An integer. I think you're an unsigned integer. That's fine. Sometimes I like to do things like this for the key, so that way the compiler will catch misspellings. But we're just gonna go for it. All right. So then our coder decode. Interesting. I really thought there was like a. I mean, that might be fine. I don't remember the rules for coding and decoding in unsigned. I think it's probably fine to just throw an unsigned into here, to that bucket. But I just don't like to be explicit. I don't like mixing types like that. I like to be very explicit about what the type is. And here, a mutable version of strokes or an empty version. Okay. That should be good. So now we should see when we encode and when we decode, we should see this version persist. And these strokes are, I have those, I think I should have those typed. Yeah, this drawn stroke. That means this guy. Oh, we need, sorry. only decoding that has the code object class. Yeah, that's what I want. There. And I gotta do the same thing for decode object of class. I think what I want is set of classes. I think that's what I have to do. This guy. This is going to be an array of strokes. Those strokes. That's what I want. Let's try that and see how that goes. Now we're going to do the same thing here for this drawn stroke class. Coding. It's init method. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to let's save the identifier, but everything else is going to be brand new. I guess the tool as well. Oh, and so then we can encode identifier. We can encode our tool. Now these are the only two things we're going to do. Right. Then everything else is brand new, and we'll do those next once we prove that we can do just these two things. Because what I can't remember is if we have to put this class right here, if that has to be part of this guy right up here. It'd be super annoying if that was true, but we're just gonna find out. All right, so here's our screen. We draw stuff. Save to disk. We hit a breakpoint. All right, our version is 460, so that's what should load when we load. We have two strokes. We're going to encode those. Yeah, and then it's really angry because we forgot to implement this protocol on the tool class. This one should be really straightforward. All these guys need to be encoded. Anything else? Those shouldn't matter. All right, cool. default min size, max size, size, max size, velocity. Color I think is annoying because color cannot be, does not implement secure coding, I believe. Those are fine. Let's take out our underscores. Be tidy. Yeah, we're good. We're okay. Anybody eat anything delicious for Thanksgiving tonight? We have the very traditional American meal of fajitas. Go. Now, in theory, that should code class color. Yep. Now I think that should actually be fine. Okay, let's try again. Beef fajitas, guacamole, queso. Okay, here we go. Truth time. We have three strokes we're gonna do. It should happily encode, and it does. Amazing. The drawing is saved. Wonderful. Now will it load? It does load in the version properly. Version. Let's go over to our stroke init. Get the identifier. We got the tool just fine, and then the other stuff it's not loading. So that's fine. That's great. Not in the correct format. When did it get angry at me? Acting just fine. Yeah, it's got my 3 elements. Pen. Pen did not initialize correctly. That's interesting. Here at the pen, not get default min size. But if we do code float, doesn't get that either. Oh, because I'm encoding as objects, not as double. Okay, that's gonna be the business. Okay, let's try again. All right, couple new drawings. Drawing is saved. Load. Yep, that time the default min size did load in properly. Color, yeah, so everything loaded in just great. Cool, perfect. And then now it's showing a blank screen, which is fine, because we only loaded some properties of what we drew in here. The identifier and the pen that we used to draw it, but we did not actually save and load the path itself, the actual math of it. So these two are going to be brand new every time. This guy, I think, also is going to be brand new every time. We can save him. That's fine. This we definitely need to save. So those we save, these are brand new. Save those. Let's save smoother. Coding protocol. This one will be nice because it's super easy. I think it only has these 4 points are the only properties we need to save. Yeah, that's it. All of the state. Great. Here. There we go. Now we should be able to save and load the smoother just fine. That smoother is interesting. I can't remember where I found this. Just Google somewhere. Bunch of scary looking math. But basically what it does and what it's responsible for, as you drag your finger or your pen across the screen, you get discrete points across the screen. And without smoothing it, you would just have very straight lines in between those points, and so it would end up looking very rigid. So instead, when you have those points, what that does is it looks at 4 points at a time, and then kind of interpolates between them to create Bezier path between points. I think these first two it kind of skips over, but then after that, every point Bezier path, and it gives you 2 control points. This control point and this control point. It gives you this control point, this control point, etc. Gives you that guy and that guy, and then that's what allows it to be a nice smooth curve in between the points that it touches without it being, super rigid. So it's pretty interesting when I found that. It was, yeah, here we go. Yeah, there's your URL. You can pause and go check it out. Or if that blog is even, yeah, it's not even up. That's too bad. Anyway, pretty neat. 2011. You can tell how long ago I was working on this. Very long time ago, I found that guy's blog. Anyway, pretty neat. Now we can save the stroke, we can save the smoother. Now we need to save these element types right here. So let's go encoder, decode object of class, smoother. Class. Here we go. Then let's steal that line. Okay. So the segments array is an array of abstract elements. Move to elements or curve to elements. So this guy, and this guy are what it can be composed of. Now that should decode those. And so now we need to take this secure protocol and do that for each of these element types. Right, so we have all kinds of stuff that we need to cache. I think we're going to do that by, right now I want to go baby steps. So we're just going to cache, or sorry, we're just going to save, encode, and decode the identifier, and then we'll come around next time and get all the rest of this junk as well. There's a few other properties in each of the subclasses, but for now, let's just do this and see how far we go. Right? Semicolons, pretty important. Get rid of these build warnings while we're at it. It's a leading constraint business. Greater than or equal to 0. I think it might actually just auto fix. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I'll auto fix that one too. Whatever, it's magical. Oh, it's this exact same thing. Great. Cool. Perfect. No more build warnings. Everything's happy. Go on button. All right, so now I draw three things. Hit save. Tells me it's saved. I want to go into stroke here and see if it loads what we think it's going to load. So here I'm about to load each segment. Loaded the identifier just fine. It loaded, yeah, all 154 segments. Great. Perfect. That's very exciting. so now what that actually did is every time I draw on the screen, it looks like one giant curve, but it's actually sliced up into lots of little bitty pieces, and then each of these little bitty pieces is one segment piece. And so that's what we're saving and loading, is we're loading a bunch of these. When you draw with your finger, the segments are a lot wider. It doesn't get finger touch input as often, but with the Apple Pencil, when you draw, it's Bluetoothing over tons of little data points and pressure points and everything like that. So you end up getting just an enormous amount of those little bitty slices. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's just save where we're at. There we go. And now let's save the rest of the properties for the segment. So we saved identifier. We're going to save width, start, end, bounds. So some of these are calculated. Which ones of these are calculated? Yeah, so bounds is calculated, endpoint is calculated. So really only start point and identifier in the base class. Previous element is important code, render version. That'd be good. So here we have start point. We have previous element. We have render version. What else did we decide we need to save out of this class? We could save whether or not it was updated. Might be interesting. So this updated property, when you draw with a pen with the Apple Pencil, it's telling you its location data. It's predicting its next location data. So it's giving you where it thinks you're going to draw, and at your current position, it's giving you what it thinks the pressure on the screen is, but that pressure sensor is kind of slow, so it's not going to know the pressure sensor for another fraction of a second. So then by the time you've drawn up here, it says, oh, never mind. I thought you were going to draw there. I've updated you, and you've drawn up there. And oh, by the way, when you're drawing back here, your pressure data is 5, not 3, whatever, right? That's what that updated Boolean is tracking. That's really kind of for debugging. To make sure that I'm updating the segment correctly once Apple gives me that data. Width is another important one. Elements. It feels pretty good. So width, we said we're saving, start point we're saving, endpoints calculated, bounds calculated, border path I believe is also calculated. Yep. Next element we need to save, not just previous element, next element. Follows move to, is that do we set that? No, yeah, that's calculated. Updated prediction, we need that. That one's calculated, okay.